You ready? This is the story of Adam. Man. It started a couple of years ago when a guy in our club had the first encounter with him. He told me about it, but he said he was probably a 3-year-old and I had another deer that I was chasing. And I got my first own picture of Adam August 28th, and then September 18th is when he really started to show up in daylight. I got a really cool video of him on trail camera. He ran with probably 3 or 4 other bucks that it was just his running mates. And then they showed up every day, every night, same time. When I figured that out, I was about a month out from season starting. I put up a ground blind. I figured this is where he's gonna be. And then he vanished. The rest of the deer stayed coming in, but he disappeared. It was probably 4 days later, I found him again, more of the south of our property. Had him over there for 6-7 days, and then he disappeared again. And finally, I found him on the southeast corner of our property, and he started showing up in daylight again over there. Opening morning, I don't have the right wind. I sit in a green field that's somewhat close, but I can get away with the south wind in this stand. Opening morning, like you can't miss opening morning, so I figured I better go sit in a stand somewhere. Before it even gets daylight, I hear this pig coming and start slowly getting daylight, and I can see just the outline of him. Once it got camera light, I shot that pig, he ran off, and I thought at least more pigs will show up behind him or something, and nothing else ever showed up. Saturday afternoon, don't see much. It's still a little warm. Sunday, I figured I don't have any other deer that I'm really chasing. The wind still wasn't right. It was still coming out of the south. I can go sit with Easton and video Easton because Easton's chasing his target buck. So I go sit with Easton. I videoed that buck, one of the bucks that he was after. But I finally got the right wind. I sit by myself. It's a big cold front comes through. I mean, it went from 60 degrees in the morning to the next day it was low 40s.
It's October 18th, and we're back in the set that me and Connor hunted a couple of days ago. We're after that deer that we've named Adam. He didn't come through yesterday, but he's never missed 2 days in a row. And we've finally got the right wind. Just so happens the cold front came through the same couple of days that we had the north wind that we've been waiting for. So I don't have Connor this morning. Connor had class, so it's just me. We're going to try and self-film and see if we can get it done.
I actually collateral 2 pigs with 1 arrow. I thought that was pretty cool. That afternoon came around and I knew he's never gone 2 days in a row without showing up.
Alright, so it's October 18th. We came back in the same set that I hunted this morning. He should be coming through here at some point. He comes in 5:15, 5:30. We've got a general idea on if he shows up when he'll be here. Fingers crossed that he sticks to the script.
As soon as Adam left the field, I heard him go back north towards that clear cut. So I knew we hadn't spooked him, hadn't run him off, but he just knew something was different. I talked to some other guys in the club, asked if maybe they thought I should stay out of there for a minute, give him time to come back in and settle down, or go in there while I know he's in there. Finally, I made the decision that I was going to go in there. Connor was coming with me. I had everything in the tree. Connor had truck issues that night, and I woke up and read the text message that he wasn't going to make it, and I almost hit the snooze button and fell back asleep. I get to the tree. It's freezing cold outside. Shortly after it got daylight, it was 7:13. Caught something down the road, on the road that you walk in on, that's about 5 yards behind me. I'd catch something over my shoulder, just something walking in the road, and then I saw something come up behind it jogging, and I thought it's just a pig with some piglets. And then I turned to grab my pig ear out of my bag, and I glanced to make sure the pig's not looking at me, and all I saw was that rack walking into the field, and I immediately knew that it was Adam. Man.
I think we just did it. I think we did. I don't even know what to say. It's October 19th. It's 34 degrees. A lot colder than yesterday, but we had the encounter with the deer we caught Adam yesterday, and I thought he was going to do the same thing he just did, but he walked the edge of the field yesterday and then got wind of some pigs that were in the boot right there, and turned around and just stepped into the woods. But I was sick to my stomach. I had him at 35 yards, and I let him slip away, but then I talked to some guys, decided to come back this morning. Supposed to have Connor with me, but he had some truck problems or something. But I'm glad I came back this morning. I knew he came in and he smelled something or saw something, and he picked his head up and kind of almost started turning. So I knew I better shoot him now. And I guessed 25. So he was obviously 24 or 25 yards, because from what it looked like, he was smoked. But I don't know what to say. After yesterday's hunt, I was very hesitant coming in here or not. But I almost didn't get out of bed when I read Connor wasn't going to make it. But I remembered I left all of my stuff in the tree last night, my bow, everything. So I knew I was going to have to come in here at some point. So, but I'm glad I did. I'm gonna sit here for a minute, kind of let it die down.
Where he goes into the woods, there's blood. And once we found the first drop of blood, it was like pouring blood. And he probably went 50 yards and then hit this creek, Line Creek, that's our property line almost. It's like I was in a shock. I almost couldn't get down there and put my hands on him. I was just shocked that it actually had happened. And then for it all to just go away as soon as I saw him on the bank, it felt pretty good for me. One thing that was special about finding that deer was having Dad and Trip there, and then having the other guy that's in our club being there with me. He was the same guy that saw this deer 2 years ago, he was the same guy that was trying everything he could to help me chase the deer that I was chasing 2 years ago. He even saw that deer and passed on him because he knew how hard I was chasing that deer, which made the moment that much more special. We've already started off with a high note, killed my #1 target buck, and I've already got my #2 lined up. We just got to seal the deal on him too. We've got an Illinois trip coming up in November, and then shortly after that we have duck season. So it's just the beginning of hunting season for us, but there should be a lot more coming behind this story. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and like and subscribe.